Good morning and welcome back to the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you guys joining us this morning. If you're watching us live, thanks for that. If you are watching us online after we upload these, we do upload them to www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. We appreciate that as well. There are audio and video versions there for you to check out. Hope you're having a good morning this morning. Basically, no traffic. Not going to spend a whole lot of time on that. Roads are pretty clear at the moment. Of course, kids out of school until April 14th. So please keep that in mind. Weather today, 65 degrees. Currently, it's going to get up to 80 degrees during midday. However, it's going to cool off this afternoon pretty quickly with some afternoon thunderstorms. So please keep that in mind as well. If you are still going to work, be prepared. You might need an umbrella or a rain jacket or something to get home this afternoon. It's going to be some thunderstorms, so probably some heavy rain. Already rained a lot. There is some water in places. Please keep that in mind as well. Drive safe. All right. Talking about more coronavirus. Yesterday was a marathon. Tons of information coming out. We're going to try to sort through all that this morning as best we can. Trying to get out of here in time because we do have the announcement at 8:30 for the schools to discuss just how you can interact with the school system during this time. Try to keep your kid on track in school. So that'll be, of course, at 8:30 as mentioned. Mr. David Gray and myself will be up there to cover that. So yesterday afternoon, the governor announced that there is a case of coronavirus in Ascension Parish, and as he said, it has made its way to the capital area. There are 136 cases. They will be updating that number around 9:30 with 3 dead. You're looking at the reason that this is just sort of sloped up is because testing has really begun. One of the things that the governor discussed is that commercial sites are coming online. Hospitals are starting to test more often. More tests are coming through. One of the difficulties he discussed with President Donald Trump as well as Vice President Mike Pence on the phone yesterday was the fact that not enough tests were available. Of course, the president and vice president said, we know those are all coming basically from the same place, so everybody's pulling from the same supply chain. However, they did want to remind folks that the supply chain for grocery stores is going to remain open and will get as much help as needed from the federal government to keep people fed. The governor did say, please stock up as your normal weekly buy or your normal, few day buy. There is no reason to stock up for a month or multiple months. Now, he did say it's best to stock up for a whole week. Limit your exposure, limit your time going to the grocery store. Please remember that. Right now, testing is only occurring for those who are already sick and showing symptoms of COVID-19, first responders, and those with doctors' recommendations who might be in that high risk. Of course, as mentioned, commercial sites are going to be coming up. 2 drive-thrus are coming in New Orleans, as well as one in Jefferson Parish. So we're going to be trying to keep you apprised of that if drive-through testing does come to the Baton Rouge area. According to the governor, as he was talking to the president and the vice president, you're looking at it could be July or August before we really get through this thing. A lot of that, we are trying to flatten the curve so we do not overwhelm hospitals. One of the whole idea of flattening the curve is to spread out the infection over as much time as possible so it doesn't spread rampantly through population. The virility of this thing is very high. Of course, one of the things that has been talked about a lot is what happened in Italy, how they ramped up within 2 weeks to have 20,000 cases. They just don't have enough intensive care unit beds and ventilators to take care, especially of the elderly and those who are high risk. So elderly or high risk and those with pre-existing conditions. And a lot of times that could be anything. That could be anything from asthma to cancer. So a lot of people who already have compromised immune systems are high risk. So trying to spread this out with social distancing. A lot of rules have come out. One of the things the governor did do yesterday, we're looking at bars are closed, restaurants, casinos, gyms, and movie theaters. So large gathering places have been closed for a month. They'll be reevaluated after 2 weeks. For a lot of local places, they're kind of closing for 2 weeks, hoping to open in 2 weeks. They're not entirely sure if they're going to be able to or not. Of course, the governor did say that these things would be reevaluated as time goes on. A lot of his directive, as he says, comes from the Centers of Disease Control, or the CDC. So when they say it, he does it, is kind of how that works. So as mentioned, those places will be closed. To list those again: restaurants, gyms, casinos, bars, movie theaters. You're looking at gatherings of 50 or less. The CDC recommends that your gatherings be 10 people or less. I know this is a lot of information. I know there's a lot going on. We're going to be repeating it a lot over the next couple of days, so people kind of get it in their minds what's going on here. This is, again, going to be a multi-month process, but the hard social distancing is going to occur over the first 6 to 8 weeks. So that's through May. However, again, schools looking to get back to work, including sports, on April 14th. As mentioned, at 8:30 a.m., we will be covering their event where they'll be discussing how to keep your kid on track during this break. They will also be reassessing at the 2 or 3 week period to kind of see what's going on. The governor did warn people that if he does reassess at 3 weeks and the CDC says you need to make it 6 to 8, he's going to follow their directives. So people need to be prepared for that. One of the things you can do in terms of, it's called social distancing. It's keeping your distance from other people. There's not, staying away from other people as much as you possibly can. That means your kids don't need to be going out and playing with other kids too often. Limiting play dates is a good way to put it. You just never know where their parents have been, where those kids have been, and it's best not to have them bring it back into the house, because once it's in the house, according to social distancing, you need to quarantine yourself. You need to stay in your house until you can call your doctor, describe to them your symptoms, and they'll tell you whether or not you need to either come in and see them or go get tested for this disease. So please keep that in mind. Social distancing, a big deal. One of the things we discussed earlier was not going to the grocery store all the time, maybe limiting that to once a week, trying to limit exposure to other people. A lot of things you can do personally to try to reduce the spread of this disease. Washing your hands regularly for at least 20 seconds with soap and water is a huge one. Sneezing into your elbow or coughing into your elbow or using a tissue is also another good one. And disinfecting common surfaces. A lot of people have asked us, what is a common surface? That's your kitchen table, your kitchen counters, your bathroom counters, things that are used often by multiple people. Disinfecting them often, once a day at least, trying to wipe them down, keep them clean. In the end of the day, after you cooked, you clean it up, wipe them down with a disinfecting rag. If you've got Clorox wipes or something, or spray them down, wipe them down. It will help. As mentioned, again, schools will be discussing curriculum for this break period at 8:30 a.m. this morning, but we do want to talk about there are free meal pickup sites for breakfast and lunch. You're going to be looking at those. Here's the list. Please pay attention. Albany Middle, Denham High, Denham Junior, Doyle High, Eastside Elementary, French Settlement Elementary, Holden School, Jubin Park, Live Oak High, North Corbin, 7th Ward Elementary, South Fork Elementary, Springfield High, and Walker Freshman High. I'm going to say that one more time. This is the list of free meal pickup services for breakfast and lunch during this time where schools will not be meeting per government mandate. Albany Middle, Denham High, Denham Junior High, Doyle High, Eastside Elementary, French Settlement Elementary, Holden School, Jubin Park, Live Oak High, North Corbin, 7th Ward Elementary, South Fork Elementary, Springfield High, and Walker Freshman High. The way these are going to work is you need to show up with your ID to show that you live either in that school's district. Now, of course, if you're in the Live Oak area, you're going to be living in Live Oak High. Elementaries are a little different. They'll be servicing a specific area. I recommend you go look at the details. We do have the press release at www.livingstonparishnews.com/coronavirus. All of the coronavirus stuff we are releasing is free. So please look at the details for that. But remember to bring either a student ID or your ID to get that food. We already mentioned, but we're going to come back around real quick with it. The LHSAA is looking to get back on track for April 14th and have championships in their entirety. They will be looking to the governor for direction on that as we get closer to that time. A couple of other things that we want to mention, just sort of housekeeping, but things that people might not be thinking about. Courts are closed for the time being. If there was a jury trial currently going on, it will continue to its end at the discretion of the local court. So if things have just gotten started, there may be a continuance put on that. And this includes the 21st Judicial District, Denham Springs City Court, as well as Ward 2 Court, as well as the Walker's Marriage Court. You can find phone numbers for those at www.livingstonparishnews.com/coronavirus. The reason I say you can find a phone number is you're still going to need to call and get your continuation date. You're still going to have court. You're just not going to have court over the next month or so. So they will also be reevaluating. Right now, it looks like the Supreme Court order says through May 30th. So most courts going to kick back off in April. However, waiting to see again what the governor says. So at least for the next 2 weeks, not going to have court. You need to call the court office. Those phone numbers are on our website, or you can Google them to get a continuation date for your court date. There are some exceptions, specifically with regard to children and family court. You can read those exceptions on our website as well. Again, it'd be great if you called and confirmed, but you need to remember that if you had a court date. The library is closed for the time being. They will be closed until further notice, basically. A lot of these places are saying that they will try to reopen at some point. However, a lot of it's going to depend on what the governor says in a couple of weeks. So again, the libraries are closed for the time being. Nursing and retirement homes are also closed to visitors for the time being, trying to protect those at-risk elderly folks from the coronavirus. So please keep that in mind. If you have an elderly grandparent, your parents are in a nursing home or a retirement home or assisted living home, call them. You're not going to be able to go visit them. Not until they give those folks the all clear. They'll probably be closed longer than anybody. And of course they are, restricting their access to each other and that sort of thing. Hospital visitation is changing. A lot of rules coming out, and a lot of hospitals are not allowing anyone that has been to New Orleans recently to come in, or if you have a fever, they're going to send you to get tested. Of course, anybody in a hospital currently is only allowed one adult visitor. The U.S. Chamber has reached out to the federal government as they kind of sort through all this, asking for financial and quantitative easing on a lot of these things that are going on, looking to suspend payroll tax and open up lines of credit for small businesses and large businesses to try to keep them going, keep them afloat. One last time, we're looking at, 136 cases, 3 dead as of yesterday afternoon. That number will be updated around 9:30 a.m. Please remember that tests are limited. They are only given to first responders, those who are already sick and showing COVID-19 symptoms, as well as those with doctor's notes. And please remember that you can carry the virus without showing symptoms. There's a long incubation period, which is why everything has been shut down for at least 2 weeks. Some might be longer. We're trying to flatten that curve, trying to keep the hospitals from getting overwhelmed. Please remember your traffic this morning is pretty slow. Not a whole lot going on today. You're looking at 65 degrees as your current temperature, 80 degrees, your high, 65 degrees, your overnight low. You're looking at afternoon thunderstorms that are going to cool things off. One last time, my name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you joining us this morning for the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. If you're watching us live, thanks for that. If you're watching us online later, we appreciate that as well. We're on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. Once a week in print on Thursdays. No, our paper is not contaminated. We are also online. Want to remind folks that we do have a coronavirus page. All of our coronavirus information is free. We'd appreciate you checking it out. Again, that's at www.livingstonparishnews.com/coronavirus. We also have an app to go with that. Please remember to be a good neighbor. Please remember it's not just about you. There are a lot of people right within your circle who might have pre-existing conditions, might have issues. So please remember that as you move forward with your day. Try to practice social distancing. Keep your hands washed. Cough and sneeze into your mouth. Don't touch your face. Like I've touched my glasses a couple of times. I know it's very difficult. All of a sudden you never touch your face, and all of a sudden don't touch your face. Well, it itches all the time. Try not to touch it. I'm working on it. And we appreciate you joining us for the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. We hope you stay safe out there. We know this is hurting a lot of folks. We're trying to keep y'all as informed as we can. And again, I will be out of here heading off to the school board to cover their event, talking about how these kids can stay in touch with the schools and stay on track. Hope you have a great day. Stay dry this afternoon, and we'll be back with you tomorrow morning.